Well, let's see. It's not recording yet, but let's see. Can you check on your, I don't think it's coming up yet. I'm not seeing that we are going live. It's computer problems at their best, or worst. Take your pick. And I think we're supposed to be going live, and I wanted to talk about the connection of our brain and our hearts based on some experiences that I had this week. So I am Tony Dattino, and I am the founder of the USA Memory Championship. And I had some things that at least have occurred in my life this week that just check on your phone that I wanted to share, connecting my recent work with my cardio fitness. They call it the Cardio IQ that I do with Quest Diagnostics and the For My Heart people, and the parallels that really came across to me in what I teach and share as it relates to brain health and how that impacts our heart as well. And so what I've been talking about here on my Live with Tony broadcast have been the connection of our 6 elements of brain health. I'm trying to get my, God, I've had laptop problems here tonight, and God, I've been trying this since almost 10 to 5. So let me get back into my head here and focus on my brain health issues. So when we talk about brain health and heart health, I want you to step back and think about first, what's important to heart health? Well, is exercise. Well, what's important to brain health is exercise. So if you think about the combination, right, your heart is obviously what's putting your blood flow through, and it's where your oxygen supply is contained that eventually gets up into your brain, which then uses about 20% of it for your thinking and for your activities and your motor skills and your thinking skills and your emotional skills and all of the different reactions that we have to life experiences and behaviors and things of that sort. So to that degree, there's a clear, I think we can see a clear integration of where something you do for your heart is also good for your brain, because what we know is our brain is using up our oxygen that we're breathing, and a healthy brain is a healthy heart, and a healthy heart is a healthy brain. And oxygen is obviously our survival, right? When you deprive people of it, we get into trouble, like we die. Well, that's the same principle of if we have a good supply of oxygen going to our brain, then we are also providing the best fuel possible for our thinking and how we create and how we communicate and how we interact with people. So that's a no-brainer. I think you see that one. It's about as easy to see as anything. And then you go to the next thing, which is nutrition, right? What we've learned is nutrition is an important element of our heart health, right? Our cholesterol levels and our LDLs and our HDLs and our different particles that are in our veins that can promote a heart attack or lack thereof based on a healthy diet. Well, what does nutrition have to do with our brain? Well, what we're finding is it has a lot to do with our brain. And what are the right foods that we're ingesting into our mouth, into our bodies, that also help us with our thinking? And what we've seen over the last, I've seen it over the last 10 years, is research that continues to come out about the importance of good nutritional habits and how that impacts our thinking and our nerve firing. So if you think about our nerve firings, right? We have these things called dendrites and axons, which are the fibers that are inside of our skull that we utilize to make chemistry and electricity. So where does the chemistry come from that we have in our brain? Well, it comes from our oxygen, and it comes from the foods that we eat, and it even comes from our own thinking and how we generate our own thoughts. But for tonight, let's just stay with nutrition. And so what fats are we taking in? What sugars do we take in? What proteins and are we providing to it? What carbs are we processing through our body? All of these come together inside of our brain to create chemistry, which then gets into the nucleus of a brain cell that then generates electricity, the firing of a thought that goes into another cell and received by the dendritic spine. So think of it as the nutrition provides chemistry, which we now throw a ball, and the dendritic spine is the catcher. It's the catcher's mitt. And we have an amazing power to do that. So now what do we know about nutrition in the heart? Well, it's everything, right? Too many fats, too many saturated fats in our heart are not any good. So we know that nutritional habits, how much salt do we bring in and how many carbs do we bring in, what's going on with our heart and how that links to our brain. So when we start thinking about the 6 elements that help us with our memories, that help us with our mental cognitive functions, and we think of the same elements being connected to our heart, it's what I call free lunch. It's like, wow, work on one or the other, and you get a byproduct of helping the other. Now we go to a third one, our sleep. And what we know about our sleep is more and more, right, our bodies need a good night's rest. And the science is saying anywhere from 5 to 9 hours, and by age it changes. But there's a lot of science that's now being revealed about the importance of sleep to brain health and how the brain is in sleep mode is purifying the toxins that we may be putting through. It's like it's the cleansing filter of our body's brain as well as our heart. And what we know is we get under high levels of 4th element, stress. We know that that taxes the whole body's system, and therefore stress is clearly not a good thing for us to be dealing with as it relates to our heart, and the consistent stress that we put on and the blockages that come from the nutrition or lack thereof. And now we have sleep that we're trying to get. We put stress into that, and now we start to compound things. But we know that stress interrupts our nerve firings in the brain, and it creates what we call pattern interrupts. It means as we have a thought going on, if we get hit with a stress mode, bam, then we find ourselves forgetting things or not focusing on things. If we may be multitasking, there may be a whole variety of through the elements of my nutrition, my exercise, and how my sleeping is, and my stress levels. And what a difference that, as I was thinking through it, and what I've been doing over the last year during COVID to help the things that are reflective in my heart metrics, how it ties into what I've been talking about on the 6 elements of brain health, and how the two are so connected, and why I'm so passionate about the brain health items, which is cognitive function, because in surveys that have been done in a number of different hospitals that I've worked with, they've uncovered the fact that people that wanting to live to, and I'll say 100, I'd love to live to 100, but people are not just worried about, well, I've got a good heart, and therefore I want to have a heart attack, but they are also worried about cognitive function. So the question I put out to my Live with Tony audience, how long do you want to live? And do you want to live aerobically well and with a body that's working on its systems? And what about your mental function? And are your mental functions working as well? And therefore, if I'm going to live to be 100, I want to live well in terms of my ability to function, but I want to function well mentally, which is equally as important. And so the two have got to go together. If we round out our brain health areas, it's now social interaction. What we do know is social interactions are vital to us. We know loneliness and isolation are killers to our body's systems again, and we just start to retract and withdraw, and we feel like we're all alone. It's not a good thing for the body's life expectancy, and we see more and more science coming out of that, and then we shut down. Well, we also know that social interactions are crucial for our brain health and how it keeps our bodies wanting to continue to go. There's hope for tomorrow, there's an expectation. I have people counting on me, and that just keeps us going. And then, of course, the last one, I'm not quite sure I got this one figured out yet, but what we know for brain health is the importance of mental challenges that keep our brains, neurons and dendrites and axons really active and growing and strengthening. And so what we do know from a brain health point of view, mental challenges are an important thing. Now, from the heart point of view, mental challenges, we've got to get a mindset that at least brings us to a point that a mental challenge is really a good thing for our brain health, but how we process mental challenges either creates, I've got this, I can cover it. I always think of basketball players shooting free throws with crowds of people, when we had people in the audience screaming and yelling, and there's the focus and concentration on somebody shooting a ball and getting it through a basket. And so I look at the mental challenges that we face in our lives, especially during COVID, and how we all process these and not create stress out of things that would be really a good thing for us to grow our brains. So those are, at least that's what hit me this week as I was going through a call with my coach, mentor, advisor on my heart health, and how I saw the connections between the brain and the heart so clearly. And I just wonder how many people really get to see that and recognize that connection and wanting to focus on their cardiology and their cardio responses to things, and recognizing that equally has an impact to your brain, or how many people working on their brain realize the connection to their cardio and how the two fit together and how they tie in so well. We've got our Maximum Memory Mastery course. It's still going strong, and we've got some really good activity there. And we're adding to that a whole new module on the 6 elements of brain health, which I think are going to be a significant upgrade to the overall picture of what we call our Brain Power series. So let's stay focused on those things, and let's stay safe and well. Let's keep our mask on. Let's keep our hands washed. Let's be respectful of social distancing, and let's all get through this craziness of the pandemic so that we can all benefit mentally and physically and see what a better tomorrow will bring for us. So have a good night, and we'll see you back here on Friday evening.